It is 7:15. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful first day of Otakon. I know I am. I just spent $75 I shouldn't have spent on what was a combination virtual racing and Outrunners soundtrack, but here we are. Happy to be here for second year talking about the late and great Akira Toriyama. This presentation is a mouthful. Akira Toriyama, The World, a multimedia tour of his lesser-known works. So we're going to be talking today about everything not Dr. Slump and not Dragon Ball, but don't leave. There's some amazing stuff to share here. What's on tap for the panel today? A little bit of personal introductions, and we're going to do some manga and anime introductions. We're going to watch a clip. We're going to repeat all of that. We're going to go through a few different series, and if we have time at the end, we're going to do a little Q&A. So speaking of introductions, hello everyone. My name is Mike. I'm one of the people that runs the website Kanzenshuu. We are an old school DIY fan site, one of the few that remains on the internet these days. I started Vegito EX's Ultimate DBZ Links page in 1998, and here we are today, still running things. We do it just because we love to do it, and we love presenting and sharing information about our favorite series. So that's me down there, and that's Kanzenshuu. I will share more about the site later on. I want to talk about Toriyama and his stuff. A little bit of personnel spotlight before we get going here. You may know this guy. This is Akira Toriyama. We unfortunately lost him recently. It was very tragic. But he left us an amazing legacy. Of course, Dr. Slump, of course, Dragon Ball, of course, Dragon Quest, the character designs for that video game series, and a million other things, some of which we'll see here today. Could say a million words about Toriyama. We will. But I also want to mention a couple other people. First up here, Takao Koyama. You may know this name, and if you don't know this name, you definitely do know this name. This is someone who has done the rounds in anime and manga. Been a writer on Urusei Yatsura, was a writer on Saint Seiya. He was poached from Saint Seiya to come work on Dragon Ball, where he worked on Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, worked on Slayers. He is, let's say, the creator of Broly, and he certainly had strong feelings about Broly over the years. He went on to do a combination of Toriyama-inspired works here. We'll talk about Dr. Slump and Cashman, definitely Cashman. Be on the lookout for Koyama's name. Other important name here, Toyo Ashida. Ashida, also someone we lost a number of years ago, someone just an absolute veteran and legend of the industry, from Yamato to Dr. Slump to Fist of the North Star, Vampire Hunter D, is the founder of Studio Live, just an incredibly talented individual, and you're going to see his name pop up a lot. So with those three names, you're going to see some other names in the mix. We can talk about some of those folks too if time allows. Let's get on into it. We are starting back at Jump Anime Carnival from 1988. Now, this is an event that was created to celebrate the 20th, at the time, anniversary of the Jump brand. This was an animated exclusive movie with a script and direction and animation direction from Ashida, who we just mentioned, script and character designs from Toriyama. And Toriyama actually attended the premiere in Kagoshima when the Anime Carnival did a series of tours around Japan. Kosuke Rikimaru is something that I never see anyone talk about. And it's just this delightfully cute little 45-minute movie. It's released on VHS, was released on Laserdisc, and that's it. That's all we've ever had of this cute little movie. Here are some character designs from Toriyama. This comes from a book called Akira Toriyama, The World. You may have seen the title, Akira Toriyama, The World. I'll talk more about that soon. You look at this, you're like, could this be any more quintessential Toriyama? We've got that dragon design. He looks exactly like Higher Dragon from Dragon Ball Z Movie 3. We've got all these other characters that are just stand-ins for other Toriyama characters. Look at the robot there, fell out of the Red Ribbon Army. Absolutely delightful. So let's watch a clip from Kosuke and Rikimaru, sourced from Laserdisc, because it's the best source of Kosuke and Rikimaru. So what I love about the movie, and that's one of the longer clips I want to share because very few people have seen this movie, they animate the heck out of this movie. That was real early on, but you saw as the rocks were coming down, they were running along on them. Great stuff there. There's some really fun fight scenes later in the movie as well, and just for no reason, they animate the heck out of it. It's a very simple story. There's not much to it. It's this island. There's a dragon there. There's not many dragons left, and they're coming. They want to get the stone out of that dragon's head. So it's a story you've seen and heard a million times before, but because it has that Toriyama flair in the character designs, it's got that amazing honky-tonk soundtrack that is wildly inappropriate and out of place at certain points during the movie, but it kind of works when they're rolling down with the rocks there. It's just an interesting clip and footnote in history. And speaking of history, I'm not going to read the whole quote here, but when we got Toriyama's Lifetime Achievement Award quote posthumously after he passed, obviously, he called out this movie and working with Ashida-san, which I thought was just an amazing recollection and tribute and acknowledgement of their work together. The connection with Ashida continues. I'm not going to show any clips from Gulliver Boy today, but I always just love pointing out that the series that came later, co-created by Ashida, Toriyama did a guest mecha design in it. He designed the mech called the Lady Bee. Just they worked together for so many years. Maybe not BFFs like he was with Masakazu Katsura, but Toriyama and Ashida definitely had a legacy together. So that takes us to Akira Toriyama, the world. So summer 1990, the Toei Anime Fair, or the Toei Cartoon Festival, it went through many different names over the years. We got over here in America the DBZ movies as movies. They called them movies. They are movies. But in Japan, they aired during these festivals, which are usually held during school breaks. So they would air 3 movies together, and it was a chance for kids to come check out their favorite franchises, get indoctrinated to new ones that maybe they didn't know, see their characters doing cool things in different situations. And so for the summer 1990 festival, they did a special one for Toriyama. So I just want to call out this photo here. This is just one sample of my ridiculous collection. This is me trying to take every picture of everything I had of Pink, and we'll talk about Pink in a minute. So there's a soundtrack CD, there's a single, there's an anime comic. They really went all out for the Anime Fair this year. You may know DBZ Movie 3, Super Decisive Battle for Earth. You may know it as the Tree of Might. I love this movie, and I think a lot of people have a soft spot for this movie as well. This movie aired over here in America as a 3-part special back during the original syndication broadcast of DBZ when it was on pre-Toonami. They aired it in 3 parts just in the middle of season 3 for some inexplicable reason. Usual VIPs of the day, Takao Koyama. Koyama's here. Daisuke Nishio directing. And then some of the best animators of all time here. We've got, I spelled Minoru Uemaeda's name wrong there. That's all right. My apologies. Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, Masaki Sato. Think about Nakatsuru. We'll hear about him in a little bit. We've got Tullus as the villain. We've got Masako Nozawa doing double duty. We'll hear more from Nozawa soon. And my favorite part of DBZ Movie 3, dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Best background music in the entire series. I'm not going to show anything from Movie 3. You've probably seen Movie 3. What we're going to show here are some other things. Pink and Kennosuke. Pink was one of Toriyama's early one-shots. It was published in the October 1982 in a magazine called Fresh Jump. Fresh Jump was a spin-off of the Jump brand for bringing up new artists, allowing established artists to do other one-shots, give them a chance to kind of flex their muscles and try out new ideas. And here we have him again. We've got Toyo Ashida here directing it and doing new character designs for Pink. Think about that and hold on to that for a bit. We've also got a script by Aya Matsui, and if you don't know Aya Matsui's name, you actually do, because Matsui wrote the vast majority of Dragon Ball GT so many years later. So we go from 90 to half a decade later writing GT. And then Pink, the main character, played by an idol of the day. So not a whole lot to say about Pink's performance there. They did this as a stunt from time to time. But let's watch a clip from Pink. This is going to be almost the very beginning of the adaptation here. Stop me if you heard this one before, but there's a scarcity of water. You've got someone in charge that's hoarding all the water. Toriyama told this story at least 3 times. One of his unpublished, well, it was technically published at one point, pre-serialization one-shots, Mysterious Rainjack, subject of water. Here we have Pink, subject of water. Anyone read or watch Sandland? Water as well. So Toriyama revisits ideas, concepts time and time again, putting a slightly different spin on it. And here we have it with Pink. What you saw was the best part of that adaptation. It is not good. It's expanded, in my opinion, a little bit too much. The character designs, Ashida's fine. He's fine. But while this is still early Toriyama, I think about 82, we're still a couple of years before Dragon Ball, so we're like midway into Dr. Slump. Pink has been chibi-fied quite significantly. And the officer, we didn't get a chance to meet him in this clip, but that's what he looks like in the adaptation versus what he looks like in the manga. Like, it's a completely different character. It very much reminds me of, before I knew it was Ashida who worked on this, it read to me like a bastardized Masakazu Katsura character design. It's very strange there. That's just one of the reasons I don't think it's a great adaptation. I think some of it is in the performance of the characters. I think a lot of it is in the expanded writing. We get new characters. They just hang on things for a little too long. I think the manga is just a wonderful little encapsulation of a story. Toriyama is brilliant with his short works. I definitely encourage you to read it. We'll talk more about how you can read all of this stuff later on. So that takes us to, at the same time, this is the program guide for Akira Toriyama The World that year. So we have DBZ Movie 3, we have Pink, and we have Kennosuke-sama. Kennosuke is another one-shot by Toriyama, so a few years later. This was published in Weekly Shonen Jump. Character designs and animation direction in this by Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru. And again, if you don't know Nakatsuru's name, you definitely do, because if you just saw Dragon Ball Daima, Nakatsuru was a character designer on that series. Absolute legend in the world of Dragon Ball, character designer, animation direction across the entire span of the franchise. Music by Tanaka here. Tanaka, the composer of One Piece. So many years here before working on this. Kennosuke is played by Yumi Toma. I know this as Yui Hongo from Fushigi Yuki, but just an interesting span of characters and cast and production crew on Kennosuke. Kennosuke is one of several shorts by Toriyama where here's a young kid. He's got himself in a circumstance, and he's got to work through it, and it's funny. We don't quite see the setup in the clip I'm going to give you, but we get a little bit of the payoff for it. And that's Kennosuke he needs to go on a date with one of his classmates, and he doesn't know what a date is. So he's had it explained to his house ninja what a date is. Like, you have to take them out, and you have to go look at the ocean and say, isn't this wonderful? And then you get coffee, and why is this coffee bitter? So Kennosuke is learning about what a date is, and then while he's out on the road, he comes up against some folks. Big guy had a pretty interesting shirt, huh? I'm not sure if you noticed that. That's the most action-packed clip from the short that I want to share with you. Again, the rest of it is really comedy-oriented. It's just a cute, fun little story about kids. As opposed to Pink, Kennosuke is just adapted like straight as is, and it's great because it was great originally. If you just leave things alone and you put Nakatsuru on it, you end up with a good work. Crazy to think about that. These are not actually animated, but what I want to call out about this is when this festival came out, they put out like 3 different guidebooks for this festival because there was so much stuff. This one was called Akira Toriyama The World Anime Special, as opposed to Akira Toriyama The World Special. It was a different art book. Don't get them confused. Midway through this book, they did kind of a what if. What if we animated some of Toriyama's other one-shots? So you get like this key artwork of what could have been for some of these. So we get Mr. Ho, we get Chobit, we get Soncho, the village elder. We get Toriyama's Me Back Then, which, okay, that's just him telling stories. I love this, and it's just an amazing look at what could have been had we gotten all of Toriyama's works adapted at one point in time, especially in the prime of everyone's work back then. Next up, we're traveling ahead a few years here to the V-Jump Festival in 1994. V-Jump Festival ran for a few years. We had V-Jump Festival, then we had Jump Festa, and we had Saikyo V-Jump Festa, now we have Jump Victory Carnival. They do all these events in Japan. They do tours for some of these, and they like to do new original works for some of these. So for 1994, they did an adaptation of Go-Go Ackman, which was an adaptation of the 11-chapter series by Toriyama, which debuted in the monthly reboot of V-Jump. V-Jump went through a couple different trial periods before it finally launched for July 93, and it's been continuing ever since. So here we are, 2025. The magazine's still going. I have a lot of them down in my basement. There's a lot of issues of V-Jump. Direction by Miyahara. Miyahara's a veteran of Dragon Ball. We have Ackman, played by Megumi Urawa, who you definitely know if you don't know. What I want to call out, though, is Ackman, Toriyama, reusing ideas, reusing concepts, reusing names. Ackman is Akkuman. Akkuman is the Dragon Ball character. Ackman is this character here. Go-Go Ackman, the adaptation, is another one where they adapt it pretty much as is. They don't do every chapter, because if you do every chapter, it would be a little too long. It's great. So let's watch a clip from Go-Go Ackman. I love Ackman. You have to go read Ackman. It's a straight adaptation. Again, not every chapter. The reason I didn't mention Megumi Urawa, not sure if you recognize the voice. If you watch One Piece, you know that as the voice of Child Zoro. I heard that voice. I'm like, I know that voice. I know that voice. Where's that voice from? That's Zoro as a kid. Ackman. Great stuff. More Toriyama, more V-Jump. Savings Warrior, Cashman. I love Cashman. Cashman, so for V-Jump Festival 1997, they did a new story, basically as if, like, hey, what if we made a new chapter, we animated it exclusively, it's got some ties to the original 3 chapters. Whenever they did something in V-Jump, Toriyama was there. So for the initial 3-issue trial run that it debuted with Cashman. For the next 4-issue trial run, we got Dub and Peter 1, which is a 4-chapter cute little manga. And then Ackman was when it did the full relaunch. So we're going back to the beginning of V-Jump, but years later, here in 1997. So we have Miyahara again. Cashman, played by Koichi Yamadera. You definitely know Yamadera. If you know him as Beerus, then you know him as Beerus. But if you know him as one of a million other voices in anime, you definitely know him. So this is one of those, all right, we're going to do a thing. We're going to coincide with a bunch of other stuff at the same time. So they did a reboot sequel series of Cashman in V-Jump. With Takeo Koyama and Katsuyoshi Nagatsuru. Cashman's design is adapted a little bit there. So what you see on the left, tilted a little bit, that's Toriyama's original Chapter 1 title design. In the middle is the V-Jump Festival 1997 VHS cover. You can see that kind of elongated Cashman face. He gets a little crazy with Nakatsuru's design. They collected most of the new Cashman into one volume, but there are some uncollected volumes. So if you want to read the whole thing, you got to go back to the original V-Jump issues. So we're going to see a short little clip here from the Cashman adaptation. So stop me if you've heard this one before. Alien crash lands on Earth, spaceship broken, needs fuel, Earth's metals, etc., etc., etc. Cashman long before Jocko. Cashman is an interesting series. I love the original chapters from Toriyama. The sequel stuff from Nakatsuru Koyama, it's fine. Unfortunately, not translated in English, so it's exclusively in its original Japanese. What you've seen so far from a lot of these is from the VHS releases that they did after coinciding with the V-Jump festivals. These were one-time releases. There are no, unlike when we saw Kosuke and Rikimaru, it got a VHS and a Laserdisc release at bare minimum. These were just little inclusions on a VHS. Never re-released, never compiled anywhere else. So if you want them, you got to go on to buy, search up, V-Jump, Cashman, VHS, and try to grab them. That's it. That's all there's ever been for these. So here's a little peek at the sequel series for Cashman in V-Jump there. Again, just lost to the pages of V-Jump. Hopefully we can get this stuff someday in English. This is why we're all here. Apple Pop. I have been so psyched to show this because I see no representation for it anywhere. Anywhere. So this was a new series of shorts produced for a Japanese children's show, Hyake Ponkiki, starting in 1988. Before we get to it, I just want to say pay attention to the sounds, pay attention to the music, pay attention to some of the voices. I found this while I was doing a little bit of research here. The voice actress for Cheapo, the main character, posted a reunion photo here in 2023. I just thought that was great. Obviously not everyone was there, but some of the folks got together, had a meal. I love that. So some of these shorts were broadcast on TV. They were collected on VHS. I was glad to grab one of the volumes here and capture and subtitle and share a clip here. So here's where Toriyama comes in. Toriyama designed the characters for the marionette puppets in this series. Look at this. Could this possibly be any more Toriyama? Cheapo is the main character. Cheapo is the shortest of the little wolf characters there. He's just Gohan. He's even got the Dragon Ball on his head. It's wild. Toriyama just reuses all of his designs, but he makes them different. So we've got like a little dinosaur friend. We've got a little wizard friend. They're incredible. He also looks like a slime too. We've got a dragon. I obviously didn't grow up in Japan, didn't grow up watching this, but I look at this and I feel the childhood nostalgia of this production. And when Toriyama passed, I saw a lot of posts online from Japanese folks saying, I had no idea Toriyama did the character designs for the show. This was such an important part of my youth, and to know that Toriyama was involved with this is like just shining a whole new light on something that I didn't even know about before. So we're going to watch a clip from an episode of Apple Pop. This has been my life for the last month, just pure excitement in sharing this. We're skipping a little bit of a way into one of the episodes here. You get all the setup you need. Here's a little bit from Apple Pop. That's Apple Pop. I love it. I love it. I love it. Shu, I don't know if you're here, but thank you for helping me finish the subtitles. Here, raise your hand. No? Okay. So, what did you hear in that clip? I saw. You heard Kikuchi. So the musical score for Apple Pop was done by Shunsuke Kikuchi, the composer for the Dragon Ball series. If you heard a familiar voice, the granny was Masako Nozawa herself, voice of Goku. As soon as she opened her mouth, I didn't know that voice. You can't trick me, Toriyama. So it's just, Toriyama did the character designs. Kikuchi did the music. Nozawa's there doing a voice. Like, this is infused with Toriyama goodness. And again, the instant I opened the capture of this tape, I was like, oh, I'm transported back in time. So you may not think you know the show that Apple Pop came from. If you are caught up on the Like a Dragon series, you do actually know some of the characters from this original show. Where is Gachapin? Have you seen Gachapin? Is he over there? These are the mascots of the more like all-encompassing show. Like Apple Pop was a segment within the show, but these characters here, yep, that's them right there. That's it. That's what I wanted to share today. I am so honored to be able to share some of the expanded world of Toriyama's works. It means a lot to me to be able to do the research and talk about this and share it. I'm just tickled pink, especially to share some Apple Pop with everyone today. It's just been living rent-free in my head for a while now. So the QR code here, this is going to take you to a page on our website on Kanzenshuu with a list of resources. So if you want to buy the Akira Toriyama The World art book from Japan, has the character designs from Kosuke Rikimaru, has the Apple Pop character designs, has a bunch of Dragon Quest, Dragon Ball designs, get a link in there. Also give a link to purchase Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater, released from Viz finally in English a couple years ago. That's got Cashman in it, that's got Pink in it, that's got Ackman in it, that's got so much other great stuff in it available in English. And then give a little bit of time and there will be a recording of the panel on the page as well without the clips. So because you're here, you got to see the clips, you got to see Apple Pop here today. So Thank you, everyone. We do have a little bit of time left for some Q&A. If anyone has any questions about what you saw here today or just the broader world of Toriyama, I would love to take some questions and just chat a little bit with everyone the time we have. I see Dan over here with the microphone. If anyone wants to raise their hand if you have a question, happy to take it. Otherwise, I can keep going for hours.
I have a microphone, and I'm walking around to anyone with their hand up.
Can I ask, do you know who made the very odd score to the first little short film?
What was the first thing we watched? That's a great question, right? It was, Kosuke Rikimaru. I want to say, I looked this up, and it was the Evangelion composer that did this. Yeah, just incredibly diverse set of work from them.
This is Sagisu?
I believe so. Am I right on that? Don't quote me. I know they did something of a Toriyama work. I think it was this movie. Let's not fact check me in real time, but I think I'm right on that one.
Any other questions?
Oh, you know what? I liked your question so much. Come up. You're going to get something.
Incentives.
What do I have for you? I have for you, this is one of the original Japanese theatrical flyers for the Sandland movie.
Nice.
You got it. Thank you. Now we got questions. I see.
Hey, Mike, I was wondering, why do you think they haven't ever released these titles in any other formats for the first just release? Do you think it's rights issues? Do you think just lack of interest?
I recognize that voice. I'm going to talk to you after. What could it be? So we have a variety of things here. We have the animated works. Yeah, could it be production committee issues? I mean, who knows? I mean, talk about today with, we have Ioku breaking away with Capsule Corporation Tokyo. Like, never mind new stuff. Forget about the old stuff. But back in the day, why do we never get any of these? Today, why do we never get any of these in English? I really don't know. I'll give you an example of something like the new Cashman manga. Like, that seems like it would be a perfect thing to put out. But in America, how do you market Koyama? How do you market Nakatsuru? Like, maybe you could now, like, from the character designer of Dragon Ball Daima, like, maybe you could get a release with that. I think we took so long to get the expanded works of Toriyama that really hindered, I think, getting any of this expanded other stuff. You look across the various oceans, you look over to Europe, they're getting Dragon Ball SD in collected manga release, they're getting the Dragon Ball Heroes manga. We don't get any of that stuff here. There's a million logistical reasons, like maybe we don't. Like, you could pick and choose anything we saw here today and any of the spin-offs from any of the things we saw here today, and we could have a half-hour conversation like, man, why didn't we get that thing? That was so good. Like, you could find an angle to market that thing. And I just don't know. And I wish we would. And it's unfortunate that maybe it will take the passing of Toriyama to further explore some of this stuff officially. I don't want to say if that's what it takes, but I mean, let's find some solace in something there. I hope we do get to further explore some of this. You have so much stuff, but I want to give you something for a great question here. I'm going to give you, this is the program guide to the 93 Toei Anime Fair. So this includes DBZ movie 9 and then one of the Dr. Slump movies as well. So enjoy. You got it. You got a question?
So did Toriyama inspires the movies before creating Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball and other works as a one-shot mangas?
So the way that it worked was, I mean, there's a whole history of what led up to Dr. Slump being created, and there were some hold on, let me put the QR code back up there. Okay, so Toriyama did a couple things before he got serialized, and then he got working towards Dr. Slump, and then he had this battle with his editor, and that's how Tomato came about. So Toriyama publish these one-shots in the various magazines. Sometimes they were part of a competition that Jump would hold, where it's like, hey, all of our popular artists, we're going to do a series, everyone do a one-shot, we'll have a competition. Toriyama won occasionally. He got some trips out of it. So the one-shots were a chance for the authors to just like explore other ideas they had, but also like it was a purposeful, concerted effort by Shueisha in the Jump magazines to have these authors do these things. And so then as time went on, obviously Dr. Slump is what made Toriyama a household name in Japan. It's what made him a millionaire. And then, of course, Dragon Ball came about. So once Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball are these household names, they're like, all right, let's go pick and choose from his one-shots. Let's put that at one of the festivals. Let's draw the kids in to see, like, will this take off? And then, as you saw with Ackman and Cashman, I don't think I mentioned this, but with Ackman, it got a series of video games as well. They had some Super Famicom games, at least one Game Boy game, maybe a series. I think there's like 3 Super Famicom games of Ackman, which is crazy. So that's how all this stuff kind of works. It's like it's this big marketing machine that Shueisha's like, all right, you do this. We're going to do some one-shots. Did that do well? Let's turn it into this other thing. Let's make some video games based off of it. Didn't do anything. All right, do another one-shot. So I don't know if that really answers the question. It's more of like, everyone do a bunch of stuff, and we'll publish it. All right. I do have something for you, too. So come on up, because we're talking about one-shots and adaptations, and I mentioned Ackman. This is not just the program guide, but the expanded book for V-Jump Festival 1994. So we've got some Ackman manga in here. We've got Dr. Slump. We've got some Dragon Ball game focus. We've got Gulliver Boys in here. So knock yourself out. There's a ton of awesome stuff in that book. You got it. Torishima's Manga Techniques, good purchase. Is there a microphone already? Okay,
right here.
Let's do there, and then if we can come up to Great Saiyan Man over here.
Yeah. Back in the day, when I noticed you talked about Ackman a lot.
Yeah.
And during that time, you were showcasing all that. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wait a minute. I played a game like this one back in the day, and it's less of a question, more like me having an observation.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I've played one of these games before. I took a look on Google real quick, and I'm like, yeah, I have played this game. I have played one of these games before. That's crazy. I'm like, and I'm sitting, and now I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, is it possible is it possible that Ackman maybe like he saw like maybe like Konami's Kid Dracula and base it off that or something?
Yeah. He's a great little design. I mean, he's Chibi Trunks just turned into like a vampire monster kind of guy. But yeah, so I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier. Ackman got a series of video games. They're great little like action side scrollers. I think one of them was included in the J Legend Retsuden, the 3DS compilation of various Jump games. I think there was an Ackman game in there, but otherwise there were, Super Famicom games. Why don't you come on up? I'm going to pick something for you here. We're talking about, hold on, what we got here? This is the Toei Fair 1994. So this is DBZ movie 11. We got Bio Broly. You got Bio Broly, my dude. Nice. Oh, there's Slam Dunk in here. There's other great stuff in here. It's great artwork, great stuff. Enjoy. You got it. Question.
The Great Simon has a question. So for Toriyama's other works, famously we know Dragon Ball was animated by Toei Animation, still is, and he didn't have a tendency to watch his adaptations. Is that correct? So,
yeah, he says that, and he lies a little bit about some of that. So, for example, we know, I think I mentioned this, he went to go see the premiere of Kosuke Rikimaru at the Kagoshima debut of the Jump Anime Carnival that year. Occasionally, he would see some of the movies, but for the most part, yeah, he liked to stay home. Initially, his kids didn't really watch his stuff either. They didn't have much of an interest. So there are, and I'd have to go back into the archives and see, like, he has said occasionally, like, oh, I went out and I saw the movie. Like every once in a while he would. But when you think about his schedule of working on the manga weekly, I mean, from Slump to the end of Dragon Ball alone, think of the span of years there, and then doing the one-shots and then doing character designs for things. The fact that he got away to see Premiere like 2-3 times is actually kind of impressive.
Wow. And I guess the main question I had to that was, were any of these adaptations done by Toei? Was it presumed that his adaptations would be handled by Toei, or were they other studios?
Yeah, this is like all the Toei VIPs through and through. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got it. Speaking of Toei, since you are a great Saiyaman, I have Dragon Ball specific for you. This is this festival, Akira Toriyama The World. So this is DBZ Movie 3, Pink, and Kennosuke. So this is this panel in guidebook form. Enjoy. I know I believe, have like 5 minutes left. I would love to take a question. Yes, sir, that I definitely don't know.
Hey, during your process while you're digging through all of this research, were there any tidbits that you just couldn't fit into the presentation that you're like, oh man, that's cool, or oh, I didn't think about that?
I really tried to throw as much as I could in there. I'm like, oh, Ackman got video games. I forgot to say it, but it was definitely on a bullet point in there. I heard Kikuchi, I heard Nozawa, like all that kind of stuff I definitely wanted to share. There was more I wanted to share about like some of the voice actors here and there, some of the other stuff. There were fun little tidbits of who showed up at what point. So for example, the main villain in Kosuke and Rikimaru is Tao Pai Pai's voice actor. The OG Otsuka, Akio Otsuka is his son. So there's some Dragon Ball legacy there. Yeah, so all right, so I got stuff. I got it all up here. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think maybe just the Otsuka thing was the cool one.
Excuse me.
Yeah, all right. Look, I got something. Do you want something or no?
I'll get to you.
All right. I'm going to give you this is the program guide for Jump Festa 2020. Enjoy. So I have one more thing, so that means I have one more question that I can do here.
All right. So we see throughout your presentation a lot of the characters that we see in other anime. We see like a Yamcha, Oolong. Do you think there's a personal connection to these characters that we see throughout his years of animations, like in Ackman, Dragon Ball? Do you think they're based off people in his life or just his imagination?
All right, so here's another one of those tidbits. I forget exactly who it is. I want to say he's like a French millionaire or something who is convinced that Toriyama stole his likeness to make Ackman. I don't think that's true. His name is like almost Ackman. It might even be Ackman. So maybe that's something like that. In his life, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you see the recurring designs. You pick up any Toriyama one-shot, you're like, oh, that's the Yamcha, that's the Bulma character. Like, those are the people. Toriyama can be rightfully criticized for having like a stock set of character design elements that he combines back and forth, but I also think that's the magic of him because you always see something new in some of those designs. This isn't really like a recurring design. This is a pretty well-known fact, but early in the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, we get this really strange guy off to the side in a panel. He's like turning around looking at you in the manga frame. And that was Toriyama's tour guide from Bali. His name is Budiasa, Wayan Budiasa. And he drew him just like in this little corner of a panel there. So that's at least one real-world example of Toriyama met someone and wanted to draw him in the manga. But in terms of like his recurring characters, I don't know. I haven't seen anything where he said like, oh yeah, I pulled this from this person. Maybe the quintessential actual example is his editor, Kazuhiko Torishima, who was Dr. Mashirito and was turned into other characters as well. Demon King Piccolo supposedly based off him. Toriyama did draw elements of his editors, and they've told conflicting stories about that over the years. Like, hey, I thought you drew this, and like, no, I wasn't really thinking of you. Like, oh, I thought I was more like this character. No, I'm more like this character. But Toriyama, he pulls from what he knows, and whether that's his editors, whether that's people he's met, we know a little bit, but we probably don't know more than we do actually know. I hope that's a couple examples for you. I love that question. So what I got for you here, this is the 1988 number 15 issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. It's got the debut of this Tarzan series, but it also has a chapter of Dragon Ball in here, of course. This is, I think, between the 22nd and 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. It's not like sealed, because obviously it's from 1988, but enjoy. I only have 1 minute left. I don't know that I can necessarily do another question, but we can try, like, let's do a speed run question real fast. Hit me. Let's go.
So this is the first time I'm seeing his other works because it's not really talked about much.
Right.
It's just Dragon Ball. But do you think if you started a campaign, more people know about this? Do you think it would be possible that this could get released? If we get a bunch of people to be like, yeah, we want this released.
Story of my life, shouting from the rooftops, release this, release this. Viz, Kajika, release Kajika, you cowards. There is still so much stuff from Toriyama that we don't have available in English. Let's start with at least all of the manga, and then maybe we can branch out into some of this other stuff. That's my answer is, yeah, let's you all put the pressure. I can only do so much. I've been doing so much for so long. They don't listen to me anymore. So write your local editor and demand Toriyama. All right, I think that's it. I'm in the red here with 20 seconds left for the time we have left. So thank you, everyone. I so much appreciate you coming out, the opportunity to talk about Toriyama and his expanded world. Hit me up. Visit the website. I've been going since 98, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. 5 seconds. We got a site. We got a podcast. We got a forum. We do all the website things. That's it. Time's up.